Pants are less important. Yes, if strictly speaking, your body's core goes down to sort of a bit below your groin in terms of the area you want to keep warm. But I would say the main thing is just choose something that you're comfortable in, and everyone's different, right? Some people might want to walk in shorts most of the year, even when it's quite cold. They're happy to wear warm things on top and keep their legs bare. Other people like to have long trousers on. It also depends somewhat on the terrain and the vegetation. Some vegetation is quite irritating to the skin. Other places you might overheat. If you're on steep ground in warm conditions, you might overheat if you're wearing too much. Having shorts or similar on your legs can be a good way of losing a lot of heat without overheating in the summer months, particularly in your part of the world. In the Mediterranean in particular, in southern Europe, it gets hot in the summer. I would certainly be wearing shorts in that part of the world in the summer. So I think it depends on where you are, where you're comfortable. I think that one of the main things if you're hiking is to try and avoid chafing, so where things are rubbing on the insides of your legs. And in some ways, what's more important than the external pants is your underwear. You want underwear that's comfortable for you. And again, everyone's a bit different, but you don't want things rubbing and chafing and causing sores and those sorts of things. So, and that could be down to parts of your body rubbing on other parts of your body, but it could also be the seams, like some relatively inexpensive underwear, the seams, the way they're sewn, if you walk in them all day, they start to rub and cause sore patches on your skin. So little things like that make a difference as well. But again, walking around town, you've probably got some sense of these are a bit uncomfortable or these are really comfy pants, right? So you can test those things out a bit closer to home. Same with socks. I mean, again, people are really variable with socks. Some people like really thick socks, some people like thin socks. My personal preference for hiking is a medium thickness sock, and then to wear a very thin inner sock that's a mixture of a synthetic material and a merino wool. That does two things. One is there's less movement of your foot against the sock. The two socks tend to move against each other a little bit, which reduces friction on your foot, so you're less likely to get sore points on your feet. The other thing is, how it's a bit unsavory, but if you're hiking all day, you get like a crustiness on the inside of your sock. You kind of get bits of skin coming off, and then there's the sweat and the bacteria. And like if you've got a thick sock, the inside of that, if you're just wearing it next to your foot, gets a bit dirty after a day or two. So you're going to need to take more of the thick socks. Whereas if you wear a thin sock next to your foot, you can take changes of the thin sock and just keep the same pair of same thick sock, and then you can even wash those thin socks, turn them inside out, wash them, and they'll dry quite quickly as well. So that's my personal preference, particularly for hiking, but other people have different preferences, right? Everyone's feet are different. So I would say experiment, particularly at the beginning. Try different things, see what works for you. Another reason to not go too far too soon, because then if you have problems with things, if you have pain or soreness or things don't work for you, then at least you're not committed to being out for a week or having to hike 20 kilometers before you get back to the train station or what have you. So waterproof pants, I generally have some waterproof pants in the cooler months of the year because you don't want to be soaking wet. But equally in the summer months, if it's raining, I'll sometimes not bother because you just get too hot, if you try and put waterproof trousers on. Even in the UK, when it can be quite sort of moderate temperature and a bit raining, particularly in the hills, I'll often not bother wearing waterproof trousers simply because you just get too warm on the steep ground. So it depends where you are and what you're doing in that respect. Yeah. Another important thing, I've just to say, you're rocking a great hat there. That's fantastic for outdoors. That kind of knitted warm hat. I would have that with me pretty much any time of the year. Even trips I've done in Africa where it's quite warm during the day, you get a clear sky at night, the temperature can drop by 15 degrees. It can be 25 degrees during the day, but 10 degrees at night. you're sitting around the campfire, you can start to feel a bit chilly. Just having a woolly hat to put on makes all the difference. It's just almost the equivalent of putting on an extra fleece jacket. So always have a warm hat with you, definitely.